Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
How you doing, Robert?
Excellent. Where are you at?
I'm in Miami right now.
Beautiful. How is it there this summer? We've had a rough summer up here in Atlanta.
You're in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. I mean, you mean in terms of COVID and everything?
COVID, the weather, everything. How's the scene down there?
Yeah, I mean, the weather is changing all the time. You know, it's like hurricane to extremely warm. But in terms of the scene, Miami has always been, pumped up. It's
seriously, what a great
had a few months of lockdown, but I feel like it's the Florida and Miami is the one place that people just went crazy and like started going out. I really took care of myself. Like I just started going out like a few months out. Of course, you meet with close friends, you go to houses, you do like more selected things, but going to a nightclub or to concerts, I really like stood away from that, for like a complete year.
Yeah, COVID has really spoiled so much, and Miami is just the scene. My sister lived there for about 5 years in the 80s.
Okay.
And my brother-in-law is a drummer, and he just loved the vibe. Just everything, Coconut Grove, everything.
Yeah.
Wow, it's just
Coconut Grove's a beautiful place. Yeah. No, it definitely has some great places. I used to live in Boston and New York City, and then I landed here in Miami. I have a lot of family here and friends, and I've been doing some production work, But now that I'm going back to this artist thing with Bluhauz, who knows? I might move to LA. We'll see.
Yeah, you just got to go where the work's going to take you and where the creativity and your trajectory.
Exactly. I feel like they have a cool scene. I have a bunch of people there from Berklee that I know. Everybody that is there is doing something great,
That's awesome. So how long have you been in Miami now?
Probably 3 years. I moved here early 2018.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the new album is out and it's hot. This is really good stuff.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Hear that. I mean, I miss the true rock sound and just that influence. It's just so good. I mean, in these days, it's just such manufactured stuff out there. Not that it's horrible. If that's your groove, that's great.
No, absolutely. It's a moment, right? Like,
yeah,
rock and roll kind of like maintains itself, and then over history you have like all these different genres and situations appearing. Right now we're with like the Latin music and the pop artists. It used to be disco, right? It used to be grunge. It used to be, but if we want to maintain a positive mindset, we can say that rock and roll maintained itself. And once this like pop era starts dying out and we see a new thing that we have no idea what's going to be, rock and roll is still going to be there, right? It's like the, how do you call it, the cement, just like holding everything, and we just keep going,
Yeah, to me, it's like comfort food. I grew up with that stuff, and get into this a little bit about the Led Zeppelin influence. It's like that to me, going back to that, it's like that's childhood for me. It's just, for people around my age and older, obviously, it's like it is. I feel like it's comfort food. Like it's the tried, the true, the familiar, and people who have that influence in their music now. It's I flock to go get that kind of music and to hear it live. So it's really
exactly
nice.
Also the live situation like really shows a band or an artist or what they can do, and rock and roll is just something powerful live. And this festival era also helps for that rock and roll to come back, because people start going to see bands live, and it's very different to just hear an artist just maybe like singing to a track with no one on the stage, versus like what a band is, like even, Foo Fighters is rock. It's not classic rock, but it's pretty rock and roll. And if you see like the concerts they've been doing, and the Lollapalooza headlining show they did, that was, the energy was just insane, you know. And I don't know if you have that energy with something else.
It's great to say that. It really is. And you've done some Lollapaloozas and stuff like that. What's that feeling like? God.
Yeah, I haven't done the Chicago yet. That's a must that I hope to get in with Bluhauz. But I used to be in another band that I formed in Berklee. We were called Stone Giant, and in 2016 we got called up to go to Lollapalooza, Argentina and Chile.
Nice.
And it was the first big festival that we were playing. And the thing about those situations is that from all the traveling and meeting the people and being backstage and everything, your show is just 45 minutes of that whole experience. So everything in its entirety like ends up being the experience, you know. Like I got the situation to meet Jesse Hughes from Eagles of Death Metal, you know.
Nice.
That was a powerful encounter. Like he just kind of like stopped and he'd ask for a lighter to light up like a cigarette, and we just ended up talking for like an hour. He knew the band because he heard our music from the lineup. He ended up, remember the Paris situation with the shooting?
Yes, the Bataclan Theater there. Oh my.
Yeah.
That's,
you know, it's one of those crazy things, because I remember like 3 months earlier, I went down to Argentina to visit some friends, and I did an interview for the TV down there, and they said, who do you want to meet? And very like without knowing the future, I said, you know what, I hope to meet Jesse from Eagles and just comment about what that bad experience was. And at one point of the conversation, he opened up to us and he started talking about that situation, and he started crying, and we like all hugged Jesse, and it was just like powerful experience. And then we were like, Tame Impala was there, you know. I remember being in Chile, and we woke up to have breakfast before going to play, and Alabama Shakes was there just having waffles, you know, like. And you see like all that experience, and you notice that these are just people, hardworking people, and once you start like going into that train yourself, you start seeing that if you just keep yourself going, you know, it's like an energy thing, you know. Once you open that energy, I remember we started playing other festivals, and then we would like bump into. I met the singer of Arcade Fire on a festival. And the next day I saw him at the airport, and you know, like your energy starts getting aligned with these people and you start meeting them more. I also met Skrillex at a party in Lollapalooza, Chile. Wow. And then I went to New York City, and he was in the same bar that I was there. You know, you like the energy started acting. That never happened to me before. I never saw Skrillex in New York City in 2 years, but I meet him in a festival, and then I come back and he's in a bar, like, wow. Right? So
it really snowballs for you. You wanted to get into this music business, and wow, it's one great thing after another, and a great community of people you've already met, and it's still mating.
Exactly. The music industry, and I guess every opportunity in life, it's like once you feel that you're in that momentum, you know, you have to roll with it, because the doors just start opening. And maybe looking at my past with that band, we would get like into very big opportunities, but then we weren't like completely using that momentum to grow all the way.
Yeah.
So at one point, that's when I stopped, and I hope to with Bluhauz go all the way. You know, like let's talk in 10 years and see what happened.
Totally. Well, this is phenomenal. Great collection of songs. How did this whole project start? All in Miami, and how long did this take to record?
Yeah. So I moved back from New York City to Miami, and that's when I decided to leave Stone Giant. The band is not really active right now because I was the singer and we were composing the songs. You know, it's like it would be another band. So that's when I was kind of, you know, you're kind of like not lost, but it's like, okay, I've had all these years of touring and and just like, this is gonna be the band of my life, and all of a sudden I'm in Miami with no band. What's going on, you know? So at the beginning of 2019, I put my shit together, you know. Sorry for that.
No censoring on podcasts.
Yeah, put my together, you know, and I started writing. I said, you know what, I'm gonna go more bluesy, more like with my influences, and just write what comes natural to me without influence from other writers. And the first demo I wrote was "Purify My Soul," which is the first song on my album.
Beautiful.
And then I just wrote, literally in 2019, I probably wrote 200 demos in 1 year.
Yeah.
And then I decided for this 13 songs. I began the production at the end of 2019, and then I had to like somehow finish the production during the COVID. So I was sending tracks to LA for the drummer to record, which is the same drummer as Stone Giant. So I kept him. Once you find a good drummer, you do not let him go. A good drummer will just change everything. And from there, we just finished production. We finished the lyrics. We finished everything, and then we recorded. I produced it myself with my company, Low Sweet Records, and my friend David.
Yeah.
And we just literally finished it at the beginning of this year. We sent it to the Orchard, our distribution label, and here we are.
Nice sounding album. Purify My Soul is all over YouTube. This is just like, what was that experience like doing the video for that?
Yeah, that was like one of the first videos I did.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Very basic. Just went out to the streets of Wynwood and just kind of like walked, you know, and had that. It was like a fun shooting, and then we decided to mix like public domain videos that show situations where you need to be purified, you know. And then the second video I did was Give It Back, but we didn't have an opportunity to go out and film something. So I just got a lot of friends and fans and people that were sending me videos, you know, and we did like a compilation of people in lockdown just enjoying the song. And now I'm finishing a few videos that I'm going to be releasing soon.
Nice. So you're getting used to doing this whole video thing on top of just doing music. It's part of the whole.
You have to, right? We're in a visual era. The videos are very important. But yeah, beyond all that thing that you got to do, the press, the photos, the image, the videos, you know, I'm mostly excited about just going out and play this thing and feel the people. And I don't even know how the songs will sound live and how people will react to them, you know. So I'm excited to have that experience.
So what do you have planned as far as the tour goes, and how extensive is that going to be?
Yeah, I mean a complete tour, not yet, of course. We're seeing how the situation with the world is progressing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few strategic shows. I'm going now to LA to film for Jam in the Van and something for Orange, kind of like a press trip. But then I'll come back and I'll do an event in Miami presenting my album. Then I'm going to New York to do the same thing. I'll probably go back to LA, do a show, maybe Nashville. You know, until we can figure out the situation with the touring, opening for bands. Let's see what festivals come our way for next year. So I guess for now, it'll be just like promoting the album, doing strategic shows. And once that cool opportunity to tour and get back to the festival thing comes back, you know, then we'll go for that.
What would you plan to do? Would you have the full band? Obviously, you have your drummer. Do you have like a full band assembled, ready to go?
Exactly. Yeah, of course. I have a great network of musicians from Berklee and from people that I know. So that gives me the freedom to like choose who I want to play based on. At the beginning, I'll do it like that, based on location, based on experience, based on the gig. I know who can play for me, with that level of professionalism. But of course, once like the big opportunity comes or a full tour, I have like the musicians that I would call like the A team, But it's a nice situation because you are not tied to people, right? Sometimes when you're in a band, you want to do a gig and maybe the bass player cannot make it, or the keyboard player doesn't want to do it, or who knows? It's not anymore just you deciding. It's everybody deciding. It's a democracy, right?
It's the way it should be. Yeah, that's good.
So like give me the freedom, hey, I want to do this tour. Bass player that I want can't make it. I'll call somebody else that I feel good playing with. Maybe over the years I established like the band. These are the people on stage always. But at the beginning, I'm gonna experiment a bit,
right,
and see who can bring it.
I think even the big legacy artists do that too. They always have an understudy because you get out there, look at the Rolling Stones. I mean, their drummer been with them 60 years or whatever. He can't make it on this tour, so they have
exactly. Well, you got Steve Jordan now on the drums, so that's going to be. I mean, you don't go wrong with Steve Jordan.
Yeah, he's been ready from day one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Yeah, they're coming here to Atlanta. Not every city. It's these no filter tours are kind of limited, so it's going to be exciting, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You have a whole cast of characters on your new project. Some people who even work with David Bowie and Nile Rodgers. That's really awesome. You got some real serious talent. What was it like working with some of these people?
Yeah. That experience with Maryel, the backing vocal singer, was funny because I was looking for a gospel singer. This was like at the end of the production. The only missing link I was needing was a gospel singer to just like back me up on those chorus. I called up a friend and he recommended someone, and we called her up to the studio and we didn't really know about her story. So at the end of the recording, she just started telling us a bit of who she was, and we were like, and we ended up having like a 2-hour conversation about all of her experiences with Michael Jackson, with Prince, with a bunch of artists. So it was very powerful, and she has like that gospel energy.
Oh, it adds so much to that. It's great when you find people like that who've just been with huge names and they develop and they make it look very easy, whatever.
Yeah. No, and she was very excited about the music, so, I mean, to see somebody who has worked with those people and been in a recording with those people to feel good about what you're doing is also reassuring, I guess. But yeah, I recorded with a bunch of people that I feel comfortable with. The bass player is my good friend Pablo. He's the bass player of this very big Latin artist called Ricky Martin. Yeah, he's been the bass player of Ricky for like 4 years now, and he lived here in Miami, so he recorded my album as well. The guitars, I did them all myself, the vocals, and then we also had another gospel saxophone player called Travis.
Travis Bridges, I think.
Travis Bridges, yeah. At the end of the song Celebration, you can hear like a really cool saxophone solo. And he came into the studio, he improvised a first take, and then he said, okay, let's start recording. But we were recording him anyways. That's a rule of the studio. You always recording, even when you're testing, because we ended up doing a bunch of takes and we ended up choosing the first take that he improvised.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's great when you hear stories like that.
Sometimes I record guitars and I'm like, don't ask me to do that ever again because I don't know what I did. It just happened.
Yeah. So what's the writing process like? Do you always carry the mobile phone and say, I got to record this right now, get it in the notes because it's going to go?
Yeah, it's really a mix of everything. For me personally, I mean, every writer has its own path, but I connect more with the music first, right? I focus on the riffs. I focus on what sound do I want. Do I want the drums to be like dancey or slow song? Am I writing a hard rock song? And I just start like, improvising ideas, maybe over a loop or maybe from jamming. And then from there, I start organizing the song, right? The song form, like this is gonna be my verse, then I'm gonna go into a pre-chorus, a chorus, where I'm gonna put the solo. After the solo could come a bridge. And once I have all that done, I start mumbling melodies over the instrumental track, right? And not even focusing on lyrics. Sometimes if you focus on lyrics, you limit your melodies. So I just mumble melodies in like a language that doesn't exist,
Yeah.
And then once I get the melodies that I want, I try to think about what I want that song to talk about. What's the concept? What am I saying in this song? The chorus is always the summary of a song, right?
Yes.
So if the song is about you like pizza, in your chorus, you're going to sing that you like pizza. But in your first verse, you're going to tell them that you went to the groceries, you bought a pizza, maybe in the second verse, you're putting it in the oven and you're taking it out and you're smelling it. Maybe in the bridge, you drop the pizza and you're sad because you dropped it, but then you picked it up again and I'll eat it anyways because I like pizza. Boom, we go to our final chorus. So once you understand it, like I did a songwriting major in Berklee. So we were constantly studying all this. It's not like there are rules because you end up doing whatever you want and you don't want to think about writing as rules, but there's definitely universal rules that work in songwriting.
You went to the Berklee College of Music. We don't want to give away your age here. Not so long ago.
I'm 31. My 20s were all about Berklee and the Stone Giant Lollapalooza situation was when I was like 25. And then at 28, probably, I decided to leave the band. And so here I am. Let's see what the 30s are going to bring my way.
That's exciting. No, still young, still have a lot of years ahead. That's good. That's really good. I would never say, oh yeah, I'm getting up to, and they have to like make goals at certain ages is kind of.
Yeah. That's really like the social media pressure that they put on people or like the pop situation that you got to be 17 and like this, but music is done forever. You can do it forever. You can do it. I mean, I've seen B.B. King play at 83 years old in I think it was Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, there you go.
And I've been reading about people that just had long careers, and like I love Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So now he's like Chris Stapleton, right? But Chris released his first album when he was 37 or 38 years old, I believe.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Writing in Nashville a lot, and then he did that. So, I mean, you have to just do your thing. Everybody has their moments,
Yeah, they do. So, what was it like being in Boston? I was just in Boston last week, as we speak.
Nice. I haven't been in like 3 years to Boston.
Great place, and I went to Fenway to see a concert, and just the vibe there is amazing. It's just what a great town. You must have had a great time at Berklee.
Yeah. I used to live right like a few blocks from the Fenway Park.
Oh, beautiful.
Berklee is right there, in Back Bay.
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, I lived there for I did 4 years of Berklee, and then I stayed one more year playing with the band. We moved to a house.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With friends, and we would have parties, and we had a rehearsal space in the basement. All the bands used to come there. It was like a movement, you know, and we were like the rock and roll band from Berklee, playing everywhere. It's just a great experience beyond the classroom, right? Because you learn a lot outside the classroom, in the jams or working with people, or at the time we were like the rock band of the school. So everybody who was studying production and recording were calling us to be like the guinea pigs of every recording. So you start like really, it's like a fake world before the real world, you know? So you get to experience all those situations that then once you are in a real life situations, you're like, okay, I already did this plenty of times at Berklee, you know?
Yeah, somebody else I met from Berklee, his name's David Rosenthal, and he has worked as a musical director. One of the big names was Billy Joel, who's still worked with. But yeah, he was telling me it's just like that's exactly what that experience is like. It's just a wonderful atmosphere, and he has everything to thank for in that regard. So you have a Jimmy Page story. How did that all come about?
Yeah, that's also another surreal situation. That it's like how did I end up here?
That's totally surreal.
Yeah, during my teenage years, I met someone who months into the relationship, I found out that she was Jimmy Page's niece. That's the true story of how it all started. And it was very like the time that I was getting into Led Zeppelin for the first time. I was like really like paying attention to my playing and playing the blues, and decided to like really dedicate my life to music. So it was crazy that all of a sudden I'm with this person that is connected to Jimmy. And I went to London when I was 19, and I went to his house. I met his family. He saw me play. He took me to the airport. We had a 1-hour chat. I felt like I was a reporter because I couldn't stop asking questions.
Sure.
There's a funny story that I asked so many questions. At one point, the driver, we went on a taxi. Like he called up a taxi and we went. This was before the It Might Get Loud movie. Remember?
Yeah.
So I feel like people didn't know how Jimmy looked at that age before that movie. So we were in a taxi, and then the driver looks at him and he's like, "Who are you?" You know, because I couldn't stop asking questions about Jimi Hendrix, about the Beatles, you played here, what you did. Like, tell me everything, you know. We even talked about soccer, everything.
Oh wow!
And I said, "Oh, you don't know who this guy is?" And he's like, "No." And I did like a small pause, and I said, "I can't say it. I can't say it, you know. Out of respect for him, I can't say it." Hey,
I know, I would do, yeah.
Sitting next to Jimmy Page, we crash, you know.
Exactly. I would, just keep quiet.
Yeah. So I said, "Okay, you're missing out." So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just kept driving, and then we said bye at the airport. I used to call him Sir the whole trip. The whole trip was Sir. And then at the end, I'm like, "Sir, do you think we can take a picture before I go?" And he's like, "I appreciate you calling me Sir, but you can call me Jimmy," he said. I have that in my head forever. So we took the photo. That's awesome. And it was very nice. We took the photo and he saw it and he's like, "Oh, I don't like the background. Let's take another one," you know. And then I said goodbye, good luck with the movie. "How are you going back home?" I said. And he's like, "Oh, I'm taking the train." I'm like, "You're taking the train just by yourself like that?" So yeah, that was like when I was 19, and then I had this feeling that I wanted to meet him again through my own means. So when I was graduating Berklee, what they do is that they give honorary doctorates to like big artists, you know, Steven Tyler, Bowie.
Seen them, yeah.
Everybody's been there. So I just made an approach and I told them this connection that I had, like very innocent, without thinking that it was going to happen. And I was on vacation, and Berklee called me up and he's like, "Yo, he's coming." He's coming.
Awesome.
He's coming, you know. Wow. we ended up we asked him if he wanted to play, but I felt like he just wanted to come and chill and enjoy the ceremony. So that opened up the opportunity for me to make the Led Zeppelin band. So
Yeah.
I just started like calling all the rock musicians I knew from Berklee, and we did a concert for like 10,000 people at the Boston University, the Aganis Arena. And Jimmy was there on the 4th row.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we just played everything. We had a few tequilas in the bar across the stadium, and then we went on stage, and it was just powerful. I was graduating Berklee. Before that, I never had 10,000 people like clapping, you know? So I remember we started the show, everything was dark, and we were playing Good Times, Bad Times. And by the time that song ended, what is this, you know? Yeah, it was a great, absolute great night that it's just going to stay with me forever, I guess.
And it's where you are today. This is how you build on that, and it just snowballs and put out a great project like this, self-titled album. This is fantastic. Where does the name come from, Bluhauz?
Let's see if I go all the way, you know, we can invite Jimmy to play a solo at a festival or something. That would be.
There you go.
That would be amazing.
Absolutely. So where does this name come from?
Bluhauz. Yeah, Bluhauz is also connected to so I see this moment as like a rebirth. That's how I call it, you know, like it feels like I had this whole other life in Berklee and New York and Stone Giant, and all of a sudden I'm here with the project. And the Purify My Soul situation is kind of like purify yourself for a new chapter. And Bluhauz was one of my bands when I was a teenager, and it was really the band that like made me like play live, and it's like, oh, what is this feeling? Let's do it. And we were called Bluhauz, but with an S instead of a Z at the end, because we were literally rehearsing at the drummer's house that was blue. So we called it Bluhauz. We didn't want to write blue like exactly like the color, and house. We just kind of like Bluhauz. So I was trying to think about names before releasing my first song, and I couldn't get the name. And then I said, you know, I'm gonna go back to my beginning, because this is a new beginning. I'm gonna steal the name and just have it be my artist name. You know, it sounds like a band, but it's my artist name. It's kind of like a slash situation, you know.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I mean that seems to be a trend too, and doing it.
And even my friends nowadays, you know, they call me Blue, or like, yo, Bluhauz, you know, and like I start like getting into that character, and it's fun.
It's catchy. It really is. And when you go to market yourself, obviously what you're doing now, it's just easier to remember. It stands out rather than going by, you know, the run-of-the-mill name. That's definitely stacks up. Another great track on there is Every Day. How did that one come about?
Thank you. Yeah, that's the last song of the album. If you see, the first song of the album is called Purify My Soul, and then the last one is called Every Day. Purify My Soul, Every Day, right? So the whole album is like purify your soul. There's a bunch of situations of like you should be purifying your soul, and then Every Day is the track that, like, if you think about it as a movie, in every day you're already purified, and you're living in this light and sunshine every day. And I totally quote, I totally quote on the chorus a few songs. So it's like, I've been touching the sky every day. That's kissing the sky from Purple Haze.
A little tribute to that. Yeah.
Looking for love in the sunshine of your love. And then riding the highway to heaven. Right?
There you go. Yeah.
I totally quoted those songs, but like switched it.
In your own little way. Yeah. That's really, really sweet. You have
that song just happened. You know, we were in the studio wanting like a powerful song. We were listening to song 2 by Blur. Remember that song?
Yeah.
So, but so I kind of like copied that vibe, but made it into this song. It was spontaneous. We were on a night with David at the studio, and it just happened. we did it in like 2 hours, and boom.
Very great production. You got a really good engineer in this too. Somebody who would work with the Black Keys. That just.
Oh yeah, that's Brian. That's Brian. He's a mastering engineer, the one who does the final step. After you're done with everything, you send everything to Brian to be mastered. And yes, he's done the Black Keys, the Brothers album. He's done Liam Gallagher. He's done Royal Blood. So he really knows that it's cool because I just send him and I don't even have notes when he sends it back. It's like, okay, I know that what you send me is what I'm supposed to release. I'm not, what can I tell you, about the mastering process? You know better. So
yeah, it's a gut instinct when having that kind of experience. And somebody like Brian Lucy is just one of these guys. Yeah, they know it. They know what sounds good, and you just got to trust them. And
yeah, exactly. I could start saying a bunch of notes, but it's like, if you thought that this should be the way to go, then I'll trust. That's why I'm sending it to you.
Yeah, I think micromanaging in the arts is just such a bad idea. And not that it couldn't work, but you got to trust the people in your group and then let them fly it to the best of their knowledge. It always
and it ends up being a better experience for you too, to have some help in different aspects,
Yeah, absolutely. Groovy Records in Miami is the place where
Groovyland Music. That's the studio of David. He owns that studio here in Miami.
Yeah.
And we've done most of my album there. We produce other artists as well. The drums, we recorded it in LA between a studio called Silver Gun Records, and then most of the songs were recorded at Revival, which is the studio of Earth, Wind and Fire in LA, and it sounds great. The room, we wanted that like live drum sound, kind of ZZ Top, so we like kind of copied the recording logistics that they used to do, I guess.
Excellent. So you moved here to the States. Where did you grow up? In Argentina?
I grew up in Argentina. Yes, I'm very connected to the U.S. because I went to an American school when I was in Argentina. My brother was born in San Francisco. I have family here, cousins. My family is American. I've been coming here to Disney World since I'm like 3 years old. I listen to English rock and roll. But yeah, I lived in Argentina most of my youth. I moved out of Argentina when I was 18.
Was in the rural area, or were you closer to Buenos Aires, or?
Yeah, Buenos Aires.
Yes, yeah.
Buenos Aires, yeah.
Yeah,
and
sure.
the rock and roll there is great.
Yeah.
The bands love going there because the people just go insane.
Yeah, great audiences who loves great music. I'm sure. What was it like the first time you remember like stumbling on the first time you heard Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin? When was that? What age did you discover that?
Yeah. I discovered that probably when I was 13. I used to listen to Green Day and Blink-182 and The Offspring. I used to listen to Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys. I did that whole thing. But at one point, my uncle in Virginia, Martin, he looked at my iPod when we used to have iPods, and he saw all this music, and he was like, "Let me show you the way." And he put in my iPod like all the Led Zeppelin records. He put all the Frank Zappa, Steve Vai, Pink Floyd, Iron Maiden, everything, and he basically deleted all my other music, and he said like, "This is your new iPod now." And I spent hours in his basement just listening to that with my headphones. And I remember going up and telling him like, "What just happened? What just happened?" Like, he's totally responsible for changing my path. I don't know where I would be right now. Doing something else, because from that moment I just became very, very into rock and roll, and that's when I started like seeing concerts of Led Zeppelin like on YouTube and everything. I used to buy the DVDs of like The Song Remains the Same. But it was really only when I was 17 that I really started studying the blues and guitar and like what these people were doing. I always played, but I didn't know what I was doing, you know. And at 17, I said, okay, now I want to know what to do.
Yeah. And then when you went to Berklee, I mean, it was basically like a lot of jazz lovers there. So how did that feel? Yeah.
We actually turned Berklee into a more rock and roll school.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, because I got in there and it was all jazz. I remember my first two semesters, I had to play jazz as my final exams. I played like Donna Lee by Charlie Parker. I played a blues by Wes Montgomery, but that wasn't who I was, you know, and who I am. So I decided to just focus on rock and roll, form the band. I started like playing Comfortably Numb guitar solo on my exams. Like, I'm not going to play jazz anymore, you know, just listen to my rock and roll. And then, like I said, we were like the rock band of the school, and other rock bands started appearing. And then with the Jimmy Page rock and roll graduation, so it definitely opened up more to rock and roll.
That's fantastic. Well, maybe as you get older, maybe you'll rediscover jazz and then be influenced.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm just not. I'm not such a jazz player, but I mean, when I used to live in New York, I would go to Fat Cats or
that's great stuff.
All these like bars, and just you sit there.
Yeah. And then some of my favorite artists like Sting kind of dipped into jazz a little bit. I wouldn't have known about like jazz if it wasn't some of the artists that I was following as a kid, and they kind of put it a little bit into their project.
Yeah. And you also have like the new jazz, more groovy, like John Scofield, you know, like that kind of thing. I love too about jazz. Robin Ford. It's like blues rock, but jazz with groove. You know, they mix a bunch of things.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Well, that's fantastic. So are you always writing for future projects, and you might shelve it and then just get to it whenever?
Yeah, I'm already writing the second album of Bluhauz, and I just released the first one. Yeah, I'm constantly like doing demos. I get very like I go very fast from one idea to the other, you know, like I listen to the album now and I love it, but I would write it all over again. You know, it's like that happens to me. Like I write a song and then the next day, it was happening all over the production. You know, we were already decided for 13 songs, but maybe that night I wrote a song and I was calling David like, yo, shouldn't we put this new song on the album? He was like, no, relax. We're already like in production. Stop writing demos, you know, like
next project. Yeah.
Just keep it for after. So
how did you teach yourself? Did you just teach yourself guitar by ear, or just did you take any lessons of that kind?
I mean, I used to take lessons when I was a kid in Argentina, but like I said, it was very just like learning tunes, not really knowing what was going on. But then I started taking classes with this teacher in Argentina, and that's when I was preparing myself to Berklee. And he told me all about the blues, the scales, the harmony, you know, the chords, some certain rules. And of course, then in Berklee, I learned a lot, but I spent so many hours outside those classes on my own, just learning and practicing the scales with the metronome, listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's like, what is that lick that he's doing? Let's recreate it. Until you start like, I remember that, like listening to something, and then I would go to videos of Santana close-ups, and that's what he's doing, you know. So so I did teach myself a lot of how to imitate those rock and roll and blues guitar sounds.
Amazing.
You know?
I never got to see Led Zeppelin live. I was around when they were together, but I was a little too young. Yeah, I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan when I was in school. Wow. That was a treat.
How was that?
Unbelievable, unreal. He was just, I never saw anything like that. Never will again.
He's one of the greatest. I mean,
I
saw, where was this?
I went to Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. This was 35 years ago. And
you saw Stevie in Ohio.
Yeah.
Wow.
did a wonderful job in their auditorium called Memorial Auditorium. So the acoustics were amazing.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
No, that's a great band. I mean, Stevie is one of the best.
Yeah.
I saw Clapton. There's an interview that Clapton talks about Stevie, and it's very powerful. He says that he was listening to the first song that Stevie released, and he was like driving, and he had to literally park the car and start calling his agents, and like, you need to find out who this guy is immediately. Not tomorrow, now. Find out who this guy is. So he got in touch, and then he said something very special about Stevie, that when you listen to him compared to other players, he was saying that Stevie was like this open channel, right? And he was saying that sometimes, even like Clapton, he plays and you get caught up in your mind, you know, like, oh, maybe I already did this lick, or I'm repeating myself, or are the people liking it? Or there's a moment that your mind starts making you doubt, and then you shut it off and you keep going. But Stevie never had that dialogue. It was just flowing and flowing and flowing. He's just an open channel. You know, you see him solo and it's like,
yeah, just totally.
His ideas never get old. And if you look at him as a guitarist point of view, and you study what he's doing technicality wise, he stays a lot in the same position, you know. He stays a lot in just one spot, but he's so creative with that just one spot that the ideas just never stop coming, you know. And he's not throwing all these jazz things all over the neck. And he's there. There. He stay there for like 20 minutes, and his ideas will just keep flowing, you know.
Like no other. Total original. Wow. So where can we get the new album from Bluhauz? Is it on the website? Can we order it?
Yeah. I mean, right now it's only digital. You can buy the record in Amazon or iTunes. But right now it's digital in Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, everywhere, you know.
Good.
And I'll definitely be releasing some vinyls and some merch, some NFTs to go with the moment. But yeah, everything is just starting. You know, we released the album a week ago, so all these things are going to start coming.
Sounds great. Well, I appreciate your time. This has been lovely, and best of luck to you and the band and everybody who you work with, and hopefully we'll see you out on the road soon.
Oh yeah, I would love to. We'll grab a beer in Atlanta.
Please do. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to know when you're here, because I want to hear this stuff live.
Definitely. It's just a matter of time.
Take care. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, Robert, for the call. Have a good day.
Good one.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.